We're back with another episode of Carnage Unleashed. How you fellas doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Finally got out to go golf today. The Cavs clinched the number 1 seed. Travis Hunter, you're a Cleveland Brown. You know, all that good stuff.
Brown stuff.
Kev, how are things down in Columbus?
Oh, life's good down here in C-Bus. I'm real excited. We've got Zach sent me our broadcasting schedule for the next couple of months. So I've got my bag packed. I'm ready to go, Coach. Really looking forward to the next couple months here at Carnage. And, of course, you know, I got my other podcast to keep me busy. But I'm very excited, gentlemen, because we, of course, have a special guest. But I won't spoil that yet. Zach, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to see you guys' lovely faces this evening. So I'm excited about that. Not happy about Ohio weather because we were having warm weather, and all of a sudden it goes, let's go down to the 30s and 40s. And I'm not liking that. Where's the 60s? You know, I'm happy with 60s right now. That, and we've been getting lots of rain. You know, Clayton knows a whole lot about that. He had to go with bags last week.
Yeah, just too much rain. Too much rain.
Welcome to the Black Swamp. Well, with that being said, let's introduce our special guest to the stage, the unbreakable Brayden Benson. How are you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Good, champ. Good. Thanks for
having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. How does it feel to be the first ever Carnage Fight Series champion, buddy?
Super cool, man. I've seen you guys around a lot. You guys do a lot at Venue 18. And in the last year since I've been at Demolition and been training MMA, I've watched you guys grow. I actually got to commentate one of our charity events recently you guys covered. So super excited to fight for you guys, and especially fight, you know, for the first title for you guys. That was super cool. I thought there was a super cool venue. We drew a pretty awesome crowd, and it was electric for sure. I was blessed and happy to be there.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get back to that Ottawa venue sometime soon.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous, actually. When I first stepped in there with Wade, I was like, wow, this is an amazing place.
Looked like a ginormous ballroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, would you guys like, I don't know, let's start off with something a little different. We normally don't do this, but I have the full fight. How about we sit here and we break down this full fight that we've got of the champ here winning his belt. So now we don't have any volume on this. That way we can kind of break it down.
I've watched this at least 500 times.
Oh, so that's where all the views came from. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Right there. So what were you thinking right there when you took that when you first took that first hit there? Was that a powerful hit?
No, honestly, I don't. In the moment, I don't even feel like I turned away into my kick. So like it felt like it almost hit my hand because I had my hand right here when I kicked them. So right here, it kind of landed like right here on my shoulder. I didn't honestly remember feeling like a big impact from that punch. And then the other one got deflected. I blocked it. Okay. So I honestly I would have liked looking back at that. I've already made notes on that. Like definitely would have liked to do a little bit better feigning to set up that kick. I was more so trying to like feel the range there. And I did know that was coming a little bit because every one of his fights that I watched, Nate's fights, first of all, shout out to him. Appreciate him taking that fight. Tough dude for sure. But I was basically trying to test the range a little bit, see how I could throw that out there. But I definitely should have probably feinted that jab a little bit more to set that kick up.
Well, the kick, I mean, the kick and that, I mean, you defended it well because you're throwing that kick and you got the hand up, though, for the defense. So, I mean, that's still a good defense going on right there.
Yeah. And like I said, I feel like if I wouldn't have had my hand up, that second shot would have definitely landed. But that first one, it's kind of hard to see. But I'm pretty sure it landed right here. I don't remember feeling any type of impact like on my face. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's see how everything progresses. You're testing the waters out here.
This is going to get interesting here in a second.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that kick. And you're like, okay.
I'm about to get headbutted in the teeth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the solid strike that I took, and I was about 80. The ref didn't stop it, obviously, and protect yourself at all times. So I didn't hear him say anything. I'm still fighting, but I was about 85% sure that I got headbutted right in the teeth, and obviously watching it back, like Nate wasn't purposely trying to like headbutt me, but in the heat of a fight like that, I'm mad, like that upset me.
Yeah.
So I immediately clinched with him, and I would have liked to stand a little bit longer. But that just kind of got me right there. So just in the heat of the moment, he came rushing in too, because he felt that his head, something landed hard, I felt like, and he was just trying to rush in. So that's when I just head and armed him into the fence. And, I was just thinking land some heavy shots, pass guard. And, I know he's got a jiu-jitsu. He trains at a jiu-jitsu gym. So obviously was making sure our transitions were clean and passing guard safely, not just rushing in there, getting our arms extended. And I was also, trying to land damage, because I feel like with jiu-jitsu guys, sometimes the best way is just hitting them in the face, because you know what I mean. Jiu-jitsu can be stopped easily by that. You got me in an arm bar, I'm gonna slam you on your head.
And I like that mentality. That mentality. No one likes those ground guys.
Yeah, I personally, I like, if a choke is there, I'm gonna take it, but I feel a lot more satisfaction in making somebody quit to get the finish. Thank you. I think that's my uncle. If it is, I love you. I appreciate it. But yeah, I look. I like to look for TKOs, knockouts. I'm trying to get sponsorships, make a big name for myself, and I feel like a lot of times the best way, what people like to see, is somebody unfortunately getting put unconscious. So that is my goal when I go out there. Obviously, if a guy's just turning his back, neck's wide open, I'm gonna take it, like, naturally, but I don't go in there just looking to hold on to you. Like, I want to inflict damage. Like, my goal is to make you not want to be in that cage with me anymore every time I step in there. So.
I like that mentality. You hear that, Wade? That's how you fight. You don't go rolling around the ground like you like to.
Speaking Zach's language over
here. I'm going to immobilize you and then put the damage on.
I will wrestle if I need to. I am a wrestler at heart. I still love wrestling. But it is more satisfying. It is a lot more satisfying to knock somebody out than to choke somebody out.
All right, well, let's move on to what's going on next here. So we had that. You guys go right into the grappling, right against the fence. And you get almost like I can see that wrestling right there. It's almost that little head and arm, right?
Yep, I felt him coming in super hard. He was just kind of pushing in, and that's just natural Greco-Roman head and arm right there. Yep. I didn't throw. I'm not too much of a thrower, but I'm finding that in MMA, like when guys are standing straight up, especially when somebody comes lunging in hot, like it's super easy to take advantage of them and use their weight, against them. Whereas in wrestling, I'm used to guys I wrestled for, 10 years. I'm used to guys being in a very low stance, squatted, you know what I mean? So when a guy's standing straight up, it's just a lot easier to hit things like that.
Yeah.
Were you nervous at all to go to the ground knowing he was primarily that jiu-jitsu guy?
No, not at all. I have I have complete faith in that. Like I got Quentin Richards, I got Gates, super long guy, super awkward to get on the ground with. Dylan, obviously, and the list goes on. I could sit here and probably name guys all day. So I'm not like I get high level looks, you know what I mean, pro level looks on a daily basis, and you know what I mean. It's just about having faith in what you're capable of, you know what I mean. I know the basis, staying tight. I'm not getting my arms extended. We're not putting too much weight one way. We're keeping our base low. Like it's just natural instincts. I've been doing the stuff in wrestling for 10 years, so it really I feel like it's translated for me pretty well, especially obviously when it comes to the ground. And after a few months, like I kind of got the don't do this, it's going to get you put in an arm triangle. Don't do this, you're going to get put in an arm triangle, or you're going to get put in an arm bar. Just things like that. Just picking up those little things. But I feel like wrestling just definitely gave me a head start. And I came in obviously a lot different than somebody who just walks in the street and does MMA or jiu-jitsu. Like I've really grown into jiu-jitsu and been able to translate my wrestling into it pretty well. I feel like definitely still a process. Nothing is perfect in my game. You know what I mean? So still things that we're working on. You know what I mean? Q's ass is sneaking. He gets me every once in a while. A couple other guys, you know, Dylan gives me a good look when he gets on top of me. He's very heavy. So I have guys that push me very hard every day. So I don't feel threatened. You know what I mean? Just because he does jiu-jitsu. I train jiu-jitsu twice a day, every day. You know what I mean? Everybody does it. Like, so I try not to think about those things too much. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're aware, like, if he's good at something certain, like, oh, he's got a really good arm triangle off his back. You know what I mean? Like, things like that, like, we're going to be aware of, right? But we're not thinking about it so much, because I feel like once you start thinking about what he's going to do and you're trying to, how am I going to defend that, then you're not thinking about what you're going to do. And if I'm on defense the whole fight, that gets me nowhere. So,
yeah, that's a great mindset. Hey, Clayton, do you have any questions?
No, not so far. All I got to say is that's a great frame because me, Kevin, you are all in there right now. But you know.
Hey, there it is. Yeah. I love when you guys do that. So does Clayton, especially when we get the
hey, you guys got front
blood.
row seats for the ground.
Yeah, like that's the best time to be at a fight, right? Like the action's 2 feet away from me.
Yeah, we abandoned the monitors in that situation. We're just kind of...
Well, then let's keep on going through the film here. You're beating his face in there, I see. Getting a lot of pressure. Head, body, head.
Yep. And my main goal right here, I knew he was trying to get his feet up on the cage and obviously kick away in some sort. So I was pulling him, trying to pull him away from the cage. Like, he was still able to get his feet, but I just didn't want him to be up enough so he could try to create some type of scramble. Just kind of get him in the center of the mat. And I knew when I had the head and arm right here, like, he's not going anywhere until I decide to move. I just had to, you know, make sure my next move was going to be, you know, somewhere. I believe it into side control. And then I believe I inflicted a little bit of damage here. Just trying to open him up a little bit. Yep, right here. And then just making sure, you know, we're not trying to take full mount too high. You know, making sure I'm strong base, you know what I mean? Not getting rolled through or anything like that. And I knew we had, you know, half a round at this point. I had Justin and Justin Fleming's in my corner for that one. So kind of let me know you got a minute 30. So I knew I had plenty of time. I was just wanting to make sure when I got to full mount, I was going to be able to make it count.
Would you go into half mount there? Oh no, you got into full mount right there.
Yep.
There
I don't like these punches at first. These were a little bit too hammer fisty. It was just kind of awkward. He was moving a lot, but right here I start opening him up.
And you get, well, those hammer fists are good for that though.
Yeah, yep, they are. Yeah. I could have, one thing I feel like I could have done a little bit sooner. I didn't do it until I started hearing Gary's voice from probably 3 rows back screaming, body head, body head, body head. So then I was like, okay, yep. And then I mixed that in a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of a good example of how I fight. I would have liked to stand a little bit longer. Just the headbutt kind of took me off balance a little bit, and I was pissed. I got hit with an illegal strike. So I was like, I wanted to make him pay for that a little bit. But yeah, all in all, Gary gave me a 8 out of 10 performance, and he's got a pretty strict scale. So obviously there's always some things we could have done better, especially that kick at the beginning. Could have set that up with some punches for sure. You know, but outside of that, all in all, I came out, I was mean, I was aggressive. And a lot of times that alone wins people fights. Just working on some small technical things really is what I got from that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the mentality you got to have, especially at this amateur level. Come out ready to swing. At least that's what I like to say, you know.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Clayton, do you have any questions now for him? Because
Sure,
you can rattle them off here, buddy.
Of course. So, Brayden, you talked about, you know, transitioning from collegiate wrestling. What got you to collegiate wrestling? Talk about kind of growing up in the sport and what ultimately made you choose Tiffin University.
Yeah, so I wish I would have started. I played football from a young age. I tried to do boxing a couple times growing up when I was younger, like MMA gyms a couple times, but it was just it was a lot cheaper. I had a single mom, so it was a lot cheaper and easier for for us to do, do school sports and stuff like that. Cause I get out of school, get out of class and at practice. And it was like $100 like pay to play fee. So it was football at first. And then when I was in 6th grade, there wasn't like a school team or anything, but I just got a flyer for like a local like youth club, and tried that a couple times. And it just got like, again, it was about a 20-minute drive to that club. So it just got a little bit much for my mom. But in 7th grade, my middle school finally had a team. So started wrestling then. Was a real chubby kid. I was actually 235 at my heaviest my freshman year. I was about 210 as an 8th grader. So pretty hefty kid. And wrestling kind of like transcended me, got me in a better shape. Appreciate you, Cam. But yeah, started wrestling in 7th grade up. Never really saw much potential in myself until COVID hit. I started caring about my diet a little bit, going and working out and stuff like that because I was locked in the house. So I didn't want to get, it's either gain more weight or, get up and go for a run when quarantine was going down and all that. And then I finally got into a gym after that. Had a 1.6 going into my junior year of high school, like GPA wise. But then I started my high school coach. I started beating some, like state ranked guys. My high school coach was like, hey, you should stop being I don't know if I can cuss on here, but I was going to say jackass. You should stop being a jackass.
You're good.
Dude, you're good enough. If you apply yourself, you probably could go wrestle and, maybe even get a scholarship to wrestle. So that kind of hit me. He kind of, I appreciate him for that. Shout out my Coach Tavanello, my high school wrestling coach. He kind of put that mindset in me. I actually finished my senior year on honor roll, so graduated with a 2.6. Went on a few visits to other schools. Went to a visit to OU actually, and was pretty heart set, wanted to wrestle there, but they told me my GPA was still just a little bit low. So they weren't going to offer me any money. It would have been walk on. And then Tiffin, I love their facility. I had a bunch of guys commit here that I had wrestled with in high school on club teams and stuff like that. They have their own wrestling facility. They really care about the wrestling team here. So I just kind of bought into those coaches and this culture, and mainly came out here for wrestling. I always knew that I wanted to do MMA since I was about 6 years old. Grew up watching it with my uncles and cousins on the TV and stuff like that. And I always said I want to be a fighter. Like in like 1st grade, like young kid, I've always said I wanted to do it. It just wrestling was where it started. So I've always had that in the back of my head. Like as soon as wrestling is done, like I want to fight. And got to the end of last wrestling season. This is my sophomore year. I'm a junior at Tiffin right now. Still on the roster, and I still go and I wrestle with those guys. Love them to death. Go and support them at their tournaments and stuff like that. And I'm technically on the roster, so I get to use the athletic trainer and all the stuff that an athlete would get, which is awesome. Head coach there, Coach Gary, is a great guy too. It's helped me a lot. But at the end of last year, got invited by Charlie Cleveland. I'm sure you guys know him. He's a freaking monster. I'm actually going to be in his corner this weekend in Cleveland for Cage Thunder. It'll be a second pro fight. But he played football at Tiffin, and he had invited me to, he's like, he always knew that I wanted to do MMA. So he was just talking to me one day, and he was like, hey, man, I've been training MMA at a Demolition Fight Team if you ever want to come try it out. Rode with him one day and just met Gary, met everybody. And I grappled with some of the pro fighters in the gym, and, more than held my own. And Gary was like, what? I think I do a good impersonation of him, but I won't do it on here. He'll get that.
Yeah, we got to talk to you about that later.
That'll be awesome.
That's like a deleted scene.
Yeah.
But he's like, he's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do MMA? Like, are you just coming in here to, learn boxing and stuff? And I was like, oh no, I want to fight. He's like, oh, you can be a problem. Like tells me every day for like 2 weeks straight. Like if you come in here consistently, you're gonna be a problem. And since then I just kind of bought in. Talking with him a lot. He set me up some boxing, USA boxing matches. I'm 5-0 in USA boxing. And then MMA debut, and it was literally I debuted July 6th. Had my second fight the following weekend in Kentucky. And after that, man, I was like it's cool to go out and hit a double leg and you know throw somebody their back like that. Like wrestling was a great adrenaline rush, and it's always going to be my first love, as far as like doing the sport. But there's no feeling like putting somebody unconscious. You know what I mean? Like it's a different. It's a different kind of, you know, it's a real feeling. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like I'm going out there and I'm putting my life. The only thing stopping somebody from dying is a referee. You know what I mean? And sometimes they don't do a very good job. So like I'm going out there and I'm putting my life on the line to change my life. And that's the decision I have to make every time. And that puts me at peace every time I walk in that cage, because I know I have whys. You know, I have a lot of whys of why am I here? Like this isn't about me. I don't care if I break my jaw. I don't care if teeth fall out. You know what I mean? I'm going to put everything I have into this cage for possibly changing my future.
You're a great interview, dude. Holy crap. That's like as good of a response as we could have possibly asked for, right?
I know you also
Like-
knocked out like 2 of my questions. Too.
I try.
Hey, you're doing a great job, man. Seriously.
Hey, speaking of questions, we have a couple from the comment section. So I'm going to start here.
Awesome.
We've got Whitey from Hot Take Sports who
Shout out,
took
Matt.
one of my other questions here. Yeah, shout out, right, Clayton? He says, at this level of fighting, how much of training is film study and learning to counter your opponent versus dialing in your own strengths and focusing on yourself and fighting your way?
That's a great question. Appreciate you, man. I would say, like, I'm just now, so I'm 5 fights into my career. So I'm starting to get to the point, you know what I mean, where I don't see guys that have 1 or 2 fights anymore. And I try to find the best level competition I can. I always tell coach that, like, we don't run from anybody. I want to, especially while we're an amateur, like, I could care less. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to take the toughest fights I possibly can and get comfortable before I turn pro. Because I feel like a lot of times guys try to take these gimmick fights and just have a beefcake of a, you know what I mean, of an amateur record. And like, what's it matter? Like, if you're not prepared for a war when you turn pro, because sooner or later you're going to get a war. Would you have rather had one when you were, you know what I mean, early in the career? Or would you rather have it when it matters, when it's for something like, you know, getting in the UFC or, you know what I mean, like a bigger like a huge promotion? Like, I would rather experience that now and feel comfortable in that fire instead of, you know, get there and, you know what I mean? Definitely try to put myself in the hardest environments possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've talked about that on this podcast before and probably on a broadcast before, probably at CFS1. I think I speak for all of us. We say we agree with that. We love that mindset. We've got, this next, you know what? I've got a couple and I'm going to save this. We've got an interesting, a bit of a call out here, maybe that I'm going to save.
We'll save that one.
We'll save that one for a second. But Jax wants to know which is easier, wrestling or football? And then Cam has a question after this.
Definitely wrestling. 100% wrestling. I've always thought individual sports are much harder. Individual sports are much harder than a team sport. You know what I mean? Because when I go out there on a wrestling mat, or any really any individual sport, like it's just you. The only person to critique is you. You know what I mean? And it's like that too, but it's also a lot better because this is how I fell in love with wrestling and kind of stopped playing football. I stopped playing football my sophomore year of high school and decided, like, you know, just wrestling from here on out was like, besides being a fat guy and only playing offensive line and hating that nobody ever clapped for me. It also, like, I felt that when I wrestled, you know what I mean? Like, wins feel a lot better because obviously, like, there's team points and team aspects to that stuff. Sorry, text came in. There's team aspects to it and stuff like that. But I can't learn from my losses as much when there's 22 other guys playing on the field, and there's a lot more room for you to make excuses. Oh, my quarterback threw 3 interceptions. You know, defense played terrible. Like when I wrestle, you know what I mean? Like even when I lose, I feel like that's better for me because there's only one person to fix, and that's me. What did I do wrong? What do I need to fix? There's no one else. Appreciate you, bro. It means a lot. But yeah, definitely wrestling for me. I would say wrestling.
Love that. I'm not surprised as a former basketball player who just every once in a while got dragged into a wrestling cardio practice, man. I couldn't keep up for one day. Y'all were doing that every day?
Shape. That's what they were. Wrestling shape is a different type of shape.
Yeah,
Different
Zach
type of
knows
shape.
that.
Because like boxing, you know, even jiu-jitsu is a lot more relaxed, but boxing, like we're standing straight up. You know what I mean? Like obviously there's times where we're flexing and we're being tense, we're throwing a hard shot or whatever the case may be. But in wrestling, it's squeeze, flex, pull. Like I'm fighting for your wrist. I'm fighting for, you know what I mean? Like it's that's why, like you see, I would say, I don't know how, I probably isn't super accurate, but I would say, in my opinion, about 80% of guys that are like known for having good cardio in the UFC or any bigger promotion are usually wrestlers or some type of grappler, jiu-jitsu too. And they're you know what I mean? So I just feel like definitely helps with the cardio.
And we got another one here from Cam. Now you got to be careful here. Who's your favorite bald person of all time?
He's thinking. He's thinking real hard.
Humpty Dumpty.
There we go.
Good answer.
I like
There we go.
I like that.
Gotta love Humpty Dumpty. It's my favorite movie.
Do you know who would win in the cage, you or JP? This one's from Joe.
That he's talking about my other uncle, his older brother.
There we
now,
go.
dude, I mean, I couldn't see myself hurting JP, but JP is a little bit old, Joe. And I do this every day for a living.
There it is.
Was that the call? Was that the call out?
No, I've got that. I've got that call out here.
I
If
can't
we're ready
even see
for
the
it.
comments in here.
Yeah,
They just come up when you guys pop them up.
This is
I
from
knew this was coming.
Colton. It says, gonna need a 10 out of 10 performance just to make it out of the first round with me. Keep that belt ready. I'm coming. So that is, of course, Clayton. Can you say his name? Because I always get my tongue tied when I try to say Colton's name.
The hash slinging slasher.
Yeah.
There it is. So there is your challenge from Colton. Any thoughts on that, Brayden?
Yeah, no, I actually didn't hear. I would have said something after the fight. I didn't hear him make the call. Obviously, I was getting ready in the back for my fight, so I didn't hear anything about him calling out the winner. I'd love to fight you. I actually got a fight booked May 31st in Kentucky for my third title. And then we're probably taking a fight in the LFA in June, and the goal is to turn pro after that. If you'd like to get a couple more fights and turn pro, I would love to meet you, especially day before weigh-ins. I'm not going to lie, boys. That day of weigh-in, that shit sucked. That shit really sucked. I would love to fight you, though, bro. I think I would make very easy work of you. I don't think you hit very hard. I think your wrestling is pretty piss poor. But I'd respect you for getting in the cage with me. But yeah, as far as that, I would love to fight you as pro, but I think I only have 2 more fights left as an amateur. Because I'm already at 5. You know, this fight is going to be 6 and then 7 for the LFA. And I'll have 3 titles, amateur titles. So my goal is to turn pro. My goal from the beginning, me and Gary talked about it. He's like, you're going to be a pro before you hit a year into your career. And I debuted July 6th. So I got May 31st. June, we're going to fight for the LFA. And then I'm going to say we're turning pro, and that'll be me turning pro before I hit a year into my career, which a lot of people, you know, that's hard to do. And that would be super cool, I feel like, for me to do. So, Colton, I respect you, but I will put you unconscious one way or another. It would not be good. But we can fight when we're pro, because that way we can kick each other in the head. It'll make it a little more interesting. And I can't help it. Because I'll tell you what, man, you think the ground and pound's vicious now? Wait till I can post on the face. Because I practice it. I do it in practice. These elbows are ready. I'll tell you what, these elbows are ready to split someone's head open. But, yeah. Good luck in your career, though, bro. I wish you the best regardless.
Oh, he had a response. He says you ducking.
He's got a duck.
Dude, I want to get paid to fight. I'm trying to get paid for this. I'm trying to get paid to knock people out. I'll get paid to knock you out.
Brayden, I gotta ask, did you watch his fight at all?
Yeah, Yeah, and I'll tell you, Gibby was not training at all before that fight. I've actually been getting on him to come in there. You know what I mean? So you took I'm not anybody you've ever fought before, dude. I've looked at your record. You've never fought anybody like me. And you would very quickly, in about 30 seconds, figure out I'm not the one. But like I said, you know, you got 3 fights. I would like you get 2 more fights, maybe win them both. Then yeah, I definitely let him make it happen, man. But look, I'm looking to get paid to fight. I'm looking to retire my mom by 50. I'm looking to be in the UFC in the next 3 to 4 years. My grandfather passed away a year ago. I promised I'm gonna be in the UFC in 3 years, and I will have mom retired by 50. My mom is 45, so I'm not looking to stay and hang out in the amateurs for 3 or 4 years like some of these guys like to do. I'm looking to, you know, take care of mine. So,
All right.
Hey man, once you get there, we'll add you to the glove wall.
Yeah.
That's the next step.
I'll give you guys free tickets.
Hey, there we go. There we go. That's what we like to hear.
Kev, get your press pass right there now, buddy.
I'm ready.
Perfect.
Well, I know a guy. We might be able to set something up. You know, we might be able to set something up. Hold on. What's this here? There's no shot I lose to a dude who's built like a bag of sour milk.
Them's fighting words, I will say.
Those are fighting words.
He fights cans.
Cans.
Yep. I didn't even look at who his loss was to. I didn't look at who his loss was to. I didn't get to see it, but I'm not
Walker,
sure. I know the 2 fights that he's won have not been, and he fights people in his garage. It looks like it says Colton's garage, and then it looks like a Street Beefs episode.
I've got his Tapology pulled up. His first fight is one that he lost to Walker Keller, submission in the 3rd round.
What's Walker Keller's record?
2-1.
2-1. You were on top of that.
Always on top of it.
It's
Come
like
on,
having
now.
an encyclopedia with a microphone. It's great.
I know, right?
Like I said, when I turn pro, I would love to fight you. But it's looking like you want to hang out in amateurs for 2 or 3, 4 years. I don't know, but I don't look to hang around fighting, you know, guys that are new to the sport forever. And like I said, I have people to take care of. I have a family to care for, and I need to get paid for this. Yeah.
All right.
I would love to fight him now, though. We should set it up. Honestly, like, you're not far. Like, you could come to our gym and we could just get some like live work too, and we could just get a live round. Because I mean, if you want it, like, you could talk reckless. You can just put on the gloves and come to the gym, dude. We can figure it out real quick. Or you can be respectful and you can wait. Like I said, like, this is what I want to do. It's my career. You can wait till I turn pro and take a fight with me. Or if you can't wait, put the gloves on and we can fucking work. I'll come to your gym if you really want me to. If it's within 2 or 3 hours, I'll come work with you, and I'll be respectful too. I won't run my mouth. I'll run these fucking hands through your face. So
he trains in Louisville, but I'm just saying, man, there is a promotion out there that would love to have you defend your belt.
Yeah, I know one.
Really,
just throwing that out there.
I can defend. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, you absolutely can defend your belt, man. You kidding me? That's what we look for.
You guys, will you guys do a show outside of Ohio?
Well, we're talking about it. We're talking about doing stuff up in Michigan.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, but like I said, we are turning pro probably before July. So if you turn pro and you'd like to fight, I would love to. It'd be an easy check mark on my record and a highlight reel. Because I would like to expose you. You're long, tall, and weak. I would as soon as I find your chin. And I would find your chin fast because your hands are very low, especially when you fought Gibby. He came out and hit you with a jab immediately. And
ooh, yeah. So these are some fighting words going back and forth. So we might have something in the future.
We can get something booked. We can get something put in the books. Yeah, I like that. We'll get something figured out.
Honestly, if you guys end up fighting in a gym, you'll probably find me in a corner doing commentary on Instagram. I gotta call this fight, gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. I gotta call this fight.
That's Carnage Media Street Beefs right there.
There we go.
That's the exact same.
yeah, I ain't coming to Colton's garage. I'll tell you that. I get paid to fight.
Hey, last question from the audience. Lindsay wants to know if you can beat Lindsay in a foot race.
No, not a chance, Lindsay. Love you though. You probably beat me up too.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you hopping on, making time for us. Is there anybody you want to shout out?
My family, my beautiful mother, does a lot for me. Her husband, my stepfather, anybody who supports me, you know what I mean, comes to my fights. I have multiple friends that do that. Sends me texts before the fights, any type of, show of support. I appreciate it. It means the world to me. Outside of, like I said, retiring my mom and changing my family's future, like that's my motivation, having people text me like, hey bro, I started going to the gym, you know what I mean? Like seeing you work out, like doing what you're doing, like it kind of motivated me. Like I live for stuff like that, like to inspire people. You know what I mean? That's my main goal outside of changing my life and my family's life, is that. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on though. And tune in May 31st, Cage Wars. We're going to get that third title.
All right.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on. As always, we're looking forward to, we love watching people grow. So good luck for the rest of your career, and hopefully we can have you back on our promotion.
Thank you.
Sir.
I hope so too, guys. Have a good night.
You too, bro.
Appreciate you.
What a great interview, right?
Yes,
Like-
great interview.
Like, you know what I mean? Kev, I don't know about you, dude, but I'm like looking at my list of questions and I'm like, well, you got that, you got that, you got that, you got that. And I asked him one thing. Like,
Yeah.
it was
In
perfect.
one answer, he crossed out, because Whitey came in with a good question about film and study, which I had in here when he was mentioning, when we were doing the play-by-play, Brayden mentioned something that made me want to ask that question. But in one answer, he took out every question I had except for the post-fight meal, which you guys know is just kind of a meme question.
Right.
So, yeah, very, very good. Well done. Appreciate you for your time, Brayden. Yeah,
Yes.
very well spoken
Very
gentleman
much so.
there. So thank you for your time, champ.
And then hopefully we'll have him on again when he's fighting on Carnage Fight Series, whatever number it is at that time.
I'd like to talk to Colton again soon too. Get a chance to talk to him. He was in the comments there.
He wants it,
And
man.
I would look forward to hearing his thoughts, based on some of those responses.
Maybe we can get him on a future podcast. Maybe we can try to go and get him on a future podcast.
Joe says Brayden's been in the cage a very long time, so you love to see it. Yeah, quite a career when you look at that. Yeah, started in July. That's a lot. He's gotten a lot done in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So very impressive.
You like to see that as an amateur, though, because like he said, and like we've all said here before, the amateur is the place to take all of the fights, get your experience, take your lumps there, get in your wars there, so that when you become a pro, and it goes from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. That's a huge difference. I promise you, it is a massive difference when you go to that, and it's like you're used to going, 3-minute rounds, and next thing you know, you got 2 minutes onto that. It's not fun if you're not ready for it. So going through, he's gone through a lot of, early fights, but and finishes them. But having that wrestling background and being able to sit there and wrestle, Wade can kind of talk about that of how much, I don't know how many minutes you guys have to wrestle in each period. You get 3 periods at how many minutes?
Well, in high school, it was 3 2-minute rounds. In college, it's like 3, 2, 2.
So wait, you go 3 minutes, then 2 minutes, and 2 minutes?
Yeah. So it's a little bit less, but the action's a lot faster.
Right.
Unless you're a featherweight in MMA, and that just goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Those flyweights can bring it, dude. Like those 125ers don't get tired.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't happen. You never see that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well, moving on, we have a good card coming up this weekend. UFC 314. And I know it's going to be a whole heck of a lot better than the last card from last weekend. So we don't even want to talk about that. So we're going to talk a little bit about UFC 314, and I'll let our buddy Clayton here take over on this one since he's the expert.
Of course. Start at the top, right? So at the top, we have Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez going for the vacant featherweight championship. That's obviously a 5-round fight. You got the old guard versus new guard. Alex Volkanovski, been around forever. The only guy he's lost to at featherweight since he's been in the UFC is Ilia Topuria, who's recently announced he's jumping up to lightweight. So he's kind of the standard at featherweight, right? He has the most title defenses at featherweight. Beat Max Holloway 3 times. Anyway,
it hurts.
Yeah, we can move on from that one. But then you have Diego Lopez. He's only 30, so he's right about the time where you want to see guys in lighter weight classes make that jump to contend for a championship. Good jiu-jitsu guy. Very, very talented on the ground. His most notable fight, in my opinion, was fighting Dan Ige on 4 hours notice. That's another level of insanity, especially at the pro level. Like, we've worked shows before where it's like, hey, my teammate's here and he has his stuff in the trunk. I hurt my foot. Can he step in for me? Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, especially in boxing shows, we've seen that before, but that does not happen in professional MMA. Most recently, he beat up Brian Ortega. That was on the Sphere show last September. Like I said, he took out Dan Ige, knocked out Sadiq Youssef on UFC 300. So he's got some pretty big wins already. This guy's not afraid of the limelight. Like I said, kind of old guard versus new guard. So, and Wade, I'll start with you. Who do we have in our main event of the evening?
Yeah, so I am going to say this is going to be fight of the night. If no one gets knocked out, fight of the night for sure. Diego Lopez fighting on all cylinders. And as we all know, Volk in contender for the greatest featherweight of all time. But I view this as Alexander's comeback. It's kind of turning point for his career versus Diego making his name for himself and starting his dynasty, so to speak. I believe in Volk, but Diego Lopez is just firing on all cylinders, and I think that he's going to edge it out.
Zach, we'll kick it over to you. Looks like you disagree up there.
I'll be honest. What I liked was Volk's comments about Lopez when he sang to him. All right, and so he's
about his haircut,
making fun of his haircut. He's like, he's got a party in the back, and he's got in the front of tonight. It's going to be the night I'm going to fall for you. And so I died laughing, and I'm going to go with my boy Volk. He's just a freak of an athlete. I know he's getting up there in age, but I'm going with the old man. It's just I can't help it. I'm going with Volk because I have faith in him. He's just a freak of an athlete coming from rugby over to MMA. I mean, he used to be a giant of a man, and he brought himself down to featherweight. So, even though
it's fair, Volk is amazing. He's no slouch. It's not going to be easy for Diego Lopez, but I've been high on Diego Lopez since he walked into the UFC and just started making a tear. He lost his first one because he came in on short notice and then just has been on a tear and has not stopped.
Kev, we'll kick it up to you. Who you got in the title fight?
Well, Wade, I would say get your bet in now if you're going the Diego route. Volk is the favorite according to the UFC's website at the moment. I am really torn here, gentlemen, because it's do I bet against the bald guy or do I go against my old man streak? How good I've been picking the older fighter. So seeing the odds are in Volk's favor as well, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to stick with my gut. We're going to stay team bald guys, and we're going to ride that to victory. So that's what I would do. Do not make your bets based on my analysis here, okay? I'm really kind of betting with my heart on this one. But, give me Volk.
All right, that's a fair pick. Boys, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm just going to throw it out there. The oldest guy to have a belt or the first guy to win a belt above the age of 35 from 170 on down was Bilal Muhammad. And that happened last summer. First guy ever. I really think that Diego might have something here. You know, Volk's taken a lot of time off. Granted, he took a couple of pretty bad knockout losses, like getting kicked in the head by obviously Islam Makhachev when he jumped up on short notice, and then getting slept by Ilya. Like those are some pretty serious losses, man. I like Diego at plus money, so I am going to go with Diego Lopez. You three can be wrong together. That's okay.
Hey, I picked Diego.
Yeah, Wade's with you.
Oh, Wade,
I'm with you.
Diego, that's
The
right.
bald guys are with the bald guy,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah,
Prize. Who to
Yeah,
guess?
team ball can be losers over there together. That's
Yep.
But jumping down into our co-main, we have Iron Michael Chandler versus Patty the Baddie Pimblett. Boys, this is kind of a war of words almost. You know, Michael Chandler's pretty good on the mic. He does a good job at keeping it professional. Whether that translates into the cage or not is it's a matter of opinion, I suppose. But you know, Patty Pimblett's going to give it right back to him. This is the same dude that told David Goggins, "I'm going to carry the boats." Like, it's two very good guys on the mic. Michael Chandler is obviously from collegiate wrestling. He wrestled at the University of Missouri, was at Bellator for forever. He was one of their most accomplished guys. Patty's coming up from the UK, Cage Wars, or not Cage Wars. What's that promotion over there? Cage Warriors. There we go.
Cage Warriors, yeah.
Cage Warriors. He was their featherweight champion and their lightweight champion. So he's coming over. Both guys have some accolades. Meeting for a clash. I think Patty is realistically 2 fights away from a title fight. Kev, we'll start with you on this one. Who do you have in this lightweight clash?
Oh, this is a tough one. In the words of the great Alex Jones, 1776 will commence again. We've got the classic rivalry, USA versus the UK. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to be a bit of a traitor on this one, guys. I think I am going to go with Patty via knockout. There we go. Knockout.
Oh,
Third round knockout. There it is. Zach, what about you, sir?
You know, I've never been a fan of the England, mostly because that goes.
Great start. Great
There it
start.
is, brother. Yeah.
I just because you know, all I can think of when I think of that is now I can't even think of his name. He now announces for him for the UFC.
Bisping. Yeah.
Bisping. I've never been a fan of Bisping, so I'd honestly, just to kind of get the bad taste of the UK and that out of my mouth, I'd like to see old Patty win it and get to a belt, get to a title fight and be the next person from UK to actually win a title, just because I'm not a fan of Bisping. I've never been a fan of Bisping.
Hey, that's fair, man. Old school Bisping was kind of a dickhead.
He was, but that's why I didn't like him.
I did read his book, I will say, believe you me, very good book. He kind of admits to that in the book. Like, he talks about kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit, going after guys that he thought he could pick on. Dan Henderson, great season of the Ultimate Fighter, by the way. Yeah, I 100% agree with that take that Bisping was he's kind of become more beloved since he retired. I think that's a very accurate statement.
Yes, he's become more likable for me since he's retired. But when he was fighting, man, I couldn't wait to see him get knocked out.
Same.
Just like the H-bomb, man. He made that his logo, dude. Like, I'm trying to think of a knockout that's more vicious than that.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody jump through the air and try and punch a man's head through the canvas like that.
Yeah, it was
Not like
insane.
that. On UFC 100, right?
It was nothing but ill intentions behind that.
But Wade, we'll go ahead and kick it down to you. Lightweight implications on the line. Who we got?
Michael Chandler, he has had higher level fights, higher level competitions that he's fought against. And I mean, he's hung in there with the best of them. He's seen more. Patty, he just keeps getting it done though. I've been saying he's been a little bit overrated in his fighting skills, and then he just keeps getting it done. Now, for some reason, deep in my gut, because he keeps saying, was it Scouts don't whatever Scousers don't get knocked out. That's just ringing in me. I feel like that's just bad juju right now, and I think Chandler just throws bombs, and I'm thinking a bomb in the second round is just gonna give him his first little bell ring. Chandler in the second.
There we go.
Ooh, okay.
There we go, boys. While that may be true, Michael Chandler is one of the most powerful lightweights in the world. You see videos of him doing medicine ball slams and deadlifts and sprints on his Instagram. See you at the top, hashtag. Like, you know what I mean. However, this dude has the fight IQ of a paper towel. Like,
He does.
I literally watch him fight, and I'm like, hey, buddy, that's beating Bobby Green and Chandler are not created equal. That's true. That's very true. And I remember you did flame me a couple months ago for saying that Patty would get the job done. But, guys, I just don't see a world. Granted, Patty holds his chin like that. It's almost like he's begging you to hit him, right? But I just don't see a world that Patty Pimblett loses to Michael Chandler right now. I don't. I just think based on his jiu-jitsu, he can go to the ground. We saw it in some of his previous fights. Obviously, his win over Tony Ferguson doesn't mean too much to me. Like, that was like
after he was already retired.
Yeah, that's nothing. That was after Justin Gaethje basically ended his life. And like Gary said, Bobby Green was kind of an idiot there. Hey, there we go. How about this, Gary? I'll put on my Twitter me doing 50 push-ups if you're willing to do the same thing. I'll put that on my Twitter.
I don't know if Gary's got a Twitter.
Dude.
How about on Demolition's Instagram then? There we go.
I'll go over there and I'll film it for you.
There we go. There we go. But I don't see a world where he does it. I think that Patty's jiu-jitsu game is pretty slick. And like I was saying, Bobby Green shot in on the guy. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But I could see Michael Chandler shooting in on the guy. Like, I 100% could see that happening. So give me Patty Pimblett, probably by submission.
I will say, to be fair, I was taking Patty a couple when we were talking about it last time. I took Patty last time.
There we go.
But I don't know. Just I got that feeling that Chandler is getting that knockout.
You got
Fair enough.
You feeling
Fair enough.
50 push-ups about it or what? You trying to get in on this?
Yeah.
See, the way my bank account's set up, I don't know if I can do that.
And then moving down the main card, we have Yair Rodriguez welcoming Patricio Pitbull to the UFC. A longtime Bellator guy. He actually knocked out Michael Chandler a couple years ago. That was one of Chandler's last fights in Bellator. That was probably one of his last 3 or 4 over there. Making the move to the UFC. First time that we've seen him in the octagon. Gentlemen, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is, for me, it's been like long overdue. You always wanted to get those Bellators over to the UFC to see how they really stacked up. Yair, we all know how he fights. He's unorthodox. He can come from all different angles. It's going to be a great test for Pitbull. I'm not sure. Circle back to me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Think about it.
I'm going with Pitbull. Just, I feel like he's got that dog in him. You know, with a last name like that, you got to have that
Well
dog.
done. Well done.
I was waiting for it. I had to.
See, Zach goes with the animal. I was going to go with the musician. I was going to say, well, of course, I got to go against Mr. Worldwide. Like, even though he's on Team Bald, like, how old is this guy? He was making music before I could drive. So there's no way his knees hold up in a cage. But no, give me Yair on this one, all kidding aside.
And then I guess that leaves me here. I like Yair Rodriguez too. I just think he's fought better competition. You know, obviously Pitbull's been there with some of the best that Bellator had, but he's also 37 now. He's got some miles on him. Like I said, he's fought guys like Michael Chandler, is probably one of the bigger names that most people would recognize here. But I think that Yair Rodriguez, he is a former interim champ. Submitted Josh Emmett with a triangle choke. Ended up getting finished by Volkanovski, but during that time, everybody was, right? So I think I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez.
Wade, you change your mind?
He doesn't know yet.
Well, I was
Like me when it's time to order dinner.
He's trying to
Like,
figure out
hang
which
on.
one's going to be the better wrestler.
Always lying to the
Well-
order. Yeah, we're ready. Just call on me last, and then I'm.
Patricio's definitely the better wrestler. It was his age. He's like 37, like Clayton said. He's a little bit up there, and he's been through some wars. He has knocked out Michael Chandler, who we've seen knock out or hold his own against higher competition. But MMA math does not math. So that's what's really getting me. I'm kind of leaning towards Yair, just because he's unorthodox as hell.
Right. He's one of the most talented strikers out there, man.
Yeah.
Like, this dude, Zach, he's got to be like your top 3 favorite fighters, right?
Whom?
Yair Rodriguez.
No.
Oh, you're killing me. He's like everything you would want in a fight.
You would.
No, I'm just right now, since I'm the only one rooting for Pitbull. No.
No, Zach's favorite 3
Pitbull right
are John Jones, and Conor McGregor. Those are his
No.
top.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love to hate Conor McGregor. No. Rampage Jackson has always been my favorite. That's why.
There we go.
Because I'll never forget in one of my fights. I always wanted to do it. Is pick a guy up and slam him when they try to do triangle on me. And I got to do it once. So
That's a Rampage classic.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the only reason why I did it.
Vintage Rampage right there.
And then, boys, I would argue, Wade, you talked about earlier how you thought the main event was going to be your fight of the night. This is my fight of the night right here.
This got some bad blood behind it.
Oh, yeah. Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell going up against John Lord Silva. Fighting nerds, guys. They're on fire right now, man. So, right now, Bryce Mitchell plus 230 dog, coming off of we don't need to repeat what he said, but I think everybody's probably figured out now through the grapevine what's been going on here. But looking at this fight, Bryce Mitchell's been around for a little bit. John Silva's kind of rising through the ranks, 4-0 with 4 knockouts in the UFC. Zach, what are we thinking?
I'm gonna have to go with Silva on this. I'm gonna go with the nerds. I like the nerds. They're on a hot streak. The whole gym is on a hot streak, and so I don't think it's gonna die here. I really don't. I think they're gonna continue with it. I think they're gonna become the staple of Brazilian MMA, in the UFC, and I think that. I just think Silva is gonna show up and show why this gym is so good, and then putting out all of their, all of these guys that have been just kind of dominating in the UFC of lately.
There we go. Fair enough. That's a great take. Wade, who you got?
I think I go in Silva only because he's just so quick and powerful at the same time. And I think as long as Bryce doesn't catch his back, I think John Silva will be just fine. So yeah, that's why I'm going to do John Silva.
Then Kev, we're going to kick it up to you. We got John Silva, Thug Nasty, Arkansas's finest, Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm going to have to essentially repeat a lot of Zach's talking points. We've talked about it before on the show, the Fighting Nerds. Not the first time that gym has come up. And what was it? 4 knockouts in a row? Make it 5, gang. First round, second round, take it however you want it. That's what's going to happen. He's going to get knocked out, he being Bryce. So, yeah, give me Silva on this one. That I feel pretty confident about it.
I'm in the same boat, guys. This is my pick of the week. The odds, he's minus 260 right now. That's not great, but I really think to save a kitten's life, if I had to pick one fight on this card, I think I would pick John Silva to beat Bryce Mitchell. That is honestly how I feel. That's how confident I am. And what kind of put a bow on that is I was watching UFC Embedded. They showed him and the Fighting Nerds getting ready to go to Miami. His last comment before getting to the airport was, "Hey, Bryce Mitchell, unless my taxi driver crashes me on the way to the airport, this is your last chance, buddy," and then got into the van. I was like, well, what? That's a cold line, dude. That was a good one.
Bryce Mitchell took that nasty knockout by Emmett.
Yeah, actually, to circle back to my comment from earlier, that might be a scarier knockout.
Yeah,
just
I think that was the
he was
scariest.
Convulsing afterwards, like that was.
Yeah, straight Caesar.
Yeah,
however you say that word, Caesar.
That was crazy.
Yeah, good on Emmett too to have us restraint because some people just follow up and he thankfully did not because I think Bryce would have freaking died. Holy cow!
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, go watch Bryce Mitchell versus Josh Emmett. And if you guys know who Josh Emmett is, he is a tank of a fighter. He brings the freaking power, and he unleashed it on Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, Bryce Mitchell ate a right hand, and you can't do that. You can't do that with Josh Emmett. That's not going to work. But moving down the rest of the card, to open up the main card, we have Dominic Reyes versus Nikita Krylov. Dominic Reyes arguably beat John Jones, guys.
I was going to say the same thing. The only guy to ever beat John Jones.
There goes my hero.
But they have him at plus money right now. That's a good fight to open up the main card, though. A little bit of name value. And then to end the prelims, as we continue to scroll down, 50K Dan Ige, of course, taking on Sean Woodson. Dan Ige is just, to me, kind of been one of those guys that just can't get over the hump.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He's been ranked at featherweight for a while now. He just can't beat any of the guys above him. So, in my opinion, this is kind of make or break for Dan Ige. I think he'll drop out of the rank. I think he's 15 right now. He'll drop out of the rankings for sure if he doesn't win.
He will. I think he's that lower rank where he can't beat all the higher ranks still. Like, it's the testing ground for the up and comings. Like, if you can beat me, then you can get up in there. But if you can't, then you're not ready for the rankings yet.
Right. And then moving down, just another couple big names. We got Jim Miller, UFC's all-time win leader, going up against Chase Hooper, coming off a submission win, unfortunately, against my boy Clay Guida. Like I said, guys, not a lot of pro athletes out there named Clayton. Got to stick close to the ones we got,
Jim Miller, man, he's gonna be around on UFC 600.
Yeah, he's 41. That's wild, dude. Like, staying around, fighting at the level he's fought at for as long as he had is crazy.
Insane.
They have him currently at plus 500.
Yeah, big underdog this time around.
That just shows to the jiu-jitsu level of Chase Hooper, in my opinion. Like, I will say, Wade, you probably won't like Chase Hooper, and I'm saying that because he walked into I don't remember if it was a high school or a college wrestling practice one time, but he walked in there and he was like, wrestling's just a softer version of jiu-jitsu. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, man. Yep. Go up against a real wrestler and you're gonna find out who's soft.
There we go.
You might be able to hold on, but we'll pick you up and slam you.
Kraken style.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Moving on down the prelims, one of my personal favorite fighters, The Damage, Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Darren Elkins is one of those guys. He's also 40. They got a lot of 40-year-olds on this card. Just scrolling through here, I say they have a lot. I think they have two. But
that's kind of a lot.
That is a lot for MMA.
That's why they're not doing it in Ohio.
Yeah, right. But just looking at these two guys, Darren Elkins is a guy that's going to continue to come forward. On his fight on the Wonder Boy versus Kevin Holland undercard, this dude was all beat up. His face was like rearranged, and this dude just would not stop coming forward. One of my favorite fights of all time. I loved watching that one. Julian Erosa, another guy who's been around at 145 for a while now. He's also 35. You don't see you don't see a whole lot of 35-year-old featherweights being the younger guy by 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Like that just does not happen. He's had his fair share of ups and downs. Has a couple knockout losses, 3-2 in his last 5, but that's definitely a fight that I'll be keeping an eye on. And just kind of scrolling down, we have Cedricus Dumas, former mortal enemy of the mindless Hulk, Dylan Budka. But with him transitioning down to welterweight, I'm not sure we're going to get to see these two fight, which really sucks because I was really looking forward to that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much is everything I have on UFC 314. Hopefully I won't have to do push-ups. That we'll just have to wait and see. I'll be watching extra close, boys. That's for sure.
I'll be waiting for that video.
Oh, it'll go up. It'll go up. I'm a man of my word. I'll throw it up on my Twitter.
Even though I'm with you on it.
All I'm asking is that Carnage Media retweets it. That's all I'm asking.
Oh, definitely.
No, we'll do it for sure.
I don't even know if I've been on our Twitter all that much. You know, that might be something that we have to start doing, is getting on our Twitter a little bit more, you know?
Well, here's something we could start with, boys. I have a trivia question for all of you.
Uh-oh, I'm bad.
Can you name all 3 of the UFC champions that were champion aged 40 and above? Since we're talking about age a lot on this card, I figured I'd throw that one out there.
Let's see.
Anybody in the comments, too, feel free
Yeah.
to start throwing some names out there.
Why is his name blanking me? It's Alex Pereira's coach.
Yep.
Connecticut. What was his name? Dang.
You're right there. I'll give it to you. Glover Teixeira.
Glover. There you go. Glover Teixeira.
I'm surprised you don't know one of them, Wade.
Yeah, I'm about to get.
I'm a
there.
little disappointed that you don't know one of them, Wade, to be completely
Randy
honest with you.
Couture.
Yep.
Oldest champion ever. 43.
But, yeah, he's leaving the last one to one of his favorite fighters.
Yeah, you're killing me here. I thought you would have this one right away.
Over 40.
40 or over. 40 or over.
This last one's blanking me.
And I'm surprised that this is the one that you're not getting. I had to look this stuff up, guys. It's not like I knew off the top of my head, just so you know. I didn't know any of this stuff. Just putting that out there. But I'm just surprised Wade doesn't know this one because it's one of his favorite fighters. A rival to one of my favorite fighters.
Yes.
That should help.
And a rival to Kev's favorite fighter as well.
Was it Cormier?
Yes.
DC's the
I
third
didn't
one.
realize. I thought he was still in his 30s.
He was 40. He was 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Won it at 39 and defended it at 40.
Yep.
Oh, defend. Oh, got it. Okay,
Defended
that's
it.
why. That's
Yep.
why the old Google machine wouldn't help me out. I was like, it won't even show me. I was like, it will only show me these two.
Chat GBT was helped me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, AI.
Fun fact: I didn't like DC in the beginning of his career.
Really?
I don't know why. I just
Really?
did not like him in the beginning of his career. And then, like, a couple fights in, I was like, you know what? If I ever fought, I would fight just like DC. I was like, you know what? I like DC now.
I didn't hate DC, but being a Cleveland guy, I was a Stipe fan. So I don't know if that necessarily puts me against DC, but I wasn't for DC, I guess, if that makes sense. I was just a Stipe fan. I didn't hate the guy by any means, but
Yeah. Well, I really started liking him even more when he was going up against John Jones. Not that I hated John Jones, but also come on, man, get your shit together. I'm with you on this. He's the best to ever do it, but he's got to be such a
got
dumbass.
half a
sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't hate him back
outside
then
the
either,
cage.
Wade. Yeah, it's kind of
I just wanted him to get a lesson taught to him real quick, so he could jog and be like, oh, you know what? I'm the best to ever do this. Let me get my shit together. That never happened.
no, different lessons were learned.
He's still undefeated in my book.
Hey, Dominic Reyes, though. You ever watched that fight?
I was gonna say, watch that fight again and put your glasses on this time, man.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
Oh my gosh!
I got you, Jones. I got you, Bo Jones.
Boys, I do believe it is in fact time for everyone's favorite segment, Kev.
Oh, we talking about?
Oh, is it? Oh, that's right. Well, gentlemen, as you know, we are only 2 weekends away from WrestleMania. So we have all of the major bouts lined up. This is the fun part where you get to see what the audience is reacting to and what's going to end up on the SmackDown before or the Raw right after WrestleMania. You can always tell, not everybody, they're working real hard. I hope the crowd gets into my stuff because this one payday is a lot bigger than the other payday. And so we've got now CM Punk in the main event with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. The big change up, guys, is that CM Punk cashed in a favor. So Paul Heyman will now be in his corner and no longer in Roman Reigns' corner. He's been there since COVID, basically, is how long Paul Heyman has been the wise man to Roman Reigns. So that match got slotted in to the main event over both Royal Rumble winners. And I don't know if you guys saw this. Now, Charlotte Flair is a name that everybody knows, if only for her dad. Even the casual fans would probably recognize the Flair last name, right? Well, Charlotte and her her WrestleMania counterpart, Tiffany Stratton, did what we like to call in the business. They worked themselves into a shoot, partners. Did you guys hear about this promo segment that got off the rails so much so that the WWE went and edited it in the feeds and on YouTube?
That's crazy.
Please.
Wow.
Indulge us.
So it was a hostile Chicago crowd, very much in favor of the champion, Tiffany Stratton. Now, the WWE internet community, not a big fan of Charlotte. Clearly, nepotism is involved when you're the child of one of the greats. I think within 2 months of her being on the main roster, she was women's champ. She's been champ 14 times. She's been out for the last year and a half, and WWE and all their wisdom said, let's have her return at the Rumble and then win it. And fuck everybody who's actually been here working for the last year and a half. Fuck that. They'll just love it. It's a famous person came back, and the crowd has absolutely rejected it. They don't really care about Charlotte, and they are all on the side of the homegrown talent, the 25-year-old champion. And Charlotte has apparently never had this type of go-home heat before. She melted down. We're talking about a 20-year pro, melted down at the fact that she was getting booed out of the building, lost her place in a promo a couple of times, started making fun of Tiffany's voice. She was like, what are you saying, Tiffy? I can hear you. I can hear you. Oh my God,
The classic.
yeah, like some Michael Scott Ace Ventura levels of shit right here. An absolute
awesome.
breakdown. And I'm not sure who went off script first, but at one point, Tiffany not having the experience or not having the record, and Tiffany comes back. Now, this was the first part that got removed, that got edited out. Tiffany said, well, Charlotte, what about your record in marriages? What are you now? 0-3. So she calls out her 3 divorces. And this is the part you guys will love. This next part, Tiffany just it's almost like she knew she might get hit for saying that one. She just immediately bails after, like, that was her mic drop moment. Like, yeah. And as she's walking away, Charlotte Flair pulls a Conor McGregor and says, oh, Tiffany, is that why Kaiser was in my DMs? Now, Ludwig Kaiser is another wrestler. He is the world heavyweight champion, Gunther's lackey, kind of, but only us nerds who follow this stuff behind the scenes even know that they're dating. So it broke kayfabe. One's a heel, one's a babyface. They've never done anything in storyline about them dating. So she pulled a, your wife was in me DMs on the way out, as if it couldn't get any worse. She was just completely just thrown off, and then invokes Conor McGregor, and not even the Conor McGregor you would ever want to invoke.
Right.
It was like post-peak Conor McGregor. Just awful decision-making all around. So, guys, we're here. WrestleMania season is upon us. I couldn't be more excited.
You know, that kind of stuff being back at press conferences makes me happy a little bit. Like, it's been too long. Obviously, Sean kind of runs his mouth a little bit. That's nothing new. We don't see a whole lot of like personal stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Granted, should you be saying that? No. But does that get you clicks? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, if you're running a business, that's like, example, Zach, when that fight broke out, when first show I ever worked, when that fight broke out, you weren't stepping in, you were stepping back and recording that crap.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this business is built on. That's great for business. I love that.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing because as a casual, like, even if you weren't a casual, you just come across that clip and then you're like, oh, now I'm kind of intrigued. What's going on here?
Like,
Yeah, now you want to see them fight, right? Because part
Yeah.
of you is like, yeah, I know this stuff is predetermined, but we might see a little shoot action here tonight, you know. And Charlotte's been known for it, or I should at the very least say she's been involved in multiple incidents where when you look at what's going on, you're like, those punches look a little real. This looks like maybe these two quit working together here for a second. So you never know what you're going to see. Now, some people might not be excited for the right reasons, mind you, but it will absolutely draw some eyes to WrestleMania. I assume that just feels like something you put on night one, you know, right in the middle. Everybody's a little tired. It's a 5-hour show. You're like, here, a lady street fight, dude. They might as well make it a hardcore match at this point.
Yep.
Might want to keep the chairs and other things out of that one because they might get used for real.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that one's gonna get
some receipts
real
nasty
nasty.
Around.
Yeah.
What were you talking a couple weeks ago about someone using like a board with nails or something in it or
Oh,
something?
that was
like
AEW, man.
Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, those can't be real. And they could have done it in all kinds of places, but they're like, no, we're just gonna pick you up and throw you on your back where your spine is exposed to these nails. I'm like,
a guy who was out for 8. Oh wait, no, sorry, it wasn't Edge. Was the one who did it, but yeah. And then you see the rep. You think you're like, is this a work? And then you see that they have to bring somebody in to do an interference so that the ref has time to pull the spikes out of this dude's back. And you're like, oh, dude, this did not go according to plan. I mean, the ref was like, he had to like glove up real quick, you know. It's just like this got blood everywhere, just awful. The absolute kind of like, I don't know. I don't understand how you get given HBO Max money and you're like, you know what's a good idea?
Nails.
Let's go back to the carnival style. Like, let's just do the lowest common denominator shit that really all it does is water down your product over time because you can't Flanderize that, right? Like you can't just keep breaking more and more things and just being a straight Carnage crash TV thing. This isn't 1996, guys. It's not going to work for you, but
bring back the halogen lights. Bring back the halogen lights.
Yeah, you want the light tubes and the barbed wires, trampoline matches. Sure, have fun.
I'm gonna be watching WrestleMania this year and be like, man, those stunts look really real. Those are really good. Nice job. And then the next day, there are 9 people in the hospital, and I'll be like, all right, well.
Right, like, dude, the whole point of this was to make it look real and not get hurt. You have strayed from the path, my friend. You're in the wrong business.
That's why the UFC and WE are teaming up now. They're real punches are coming now.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I
dude.
hope so.
I do. There are a few characters that I think will cross over. I think it's really only a one-way street, and Charles Montgomery Punk showed that to us. A guy like Brock Lesnar is a once in a lifetime freak of nature.
That's a freak athlete.
I can't count that. Okay, he did. He also almost made an NFL roster at 30. You know, so like we don't count him. But generally speaking, it's only going to be a one-way street. People can come from the MMA and be taught, especially if they already have a good personality. You know, it will take some time. Not anybody can go out there and do that stuff without putting the other folks in danger or being a danger to themselves. But if you've been a pro athlete, I think you are pretty inclined to make the transition. And I want to see it too, so we can have an MMA fighter go out and punch Logan Paul for real, and we can all pretend it was a work.
Let's hope Conor McGregor gets in there then, because I know you want Conor McGregor to come over to WWE. That's what you really want in life. That's You don't want him to become president of Ireland. You want him to become,
the
that,
heel champion for
that-
600 days.
He'd probably punch Logan Paul for real.
Yeah.
He'd probably
I
get on it. I mean, if he's gonna punch an old man at a bar because he says that his whiskey sucks, I
Yeah.
can see him punching Logan Paul for actually talking some shit.
Yeah.
I can see Connor punching anybody depending
Yeah.
on where his chemical balances are that day.
I saw a
Connor could-
video last week of him getting into a scrap. I think it was at a bare
Yeah.
knuckle thing. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, bare knuckle. I feel like he's on his proper 12 binge and just over
Right.
at bare knuckle, just doing
I
whatever
would
the hell
love
he wants to do.
to just hang out with him as like a member of his entourage for a week. I might have to turn in my 2 weeks if I do that. I don't know if I'm going to come back from that. But
Yeah.
like, I would love to know what a day in that guy's life looks like right now.
He got too much money.
Yeah, but real.
Just walking around like this all day
Yeah, sure.
On my
halfway
yacht.
unbuttoned.
in the middle.
Shoot. Well, I think that wraps it up. Where can they find you, Clayton?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter, cscalina12. Obviously here, Carnage Media PPV. Give us a follow. Kev, where can the people find you?
You can find me and the boys over on Bite Size Sports. Be sure to check that out. Leave a like and give us a subscription if you don't mind. But mainly, I just want to say thank you and give a shout out to everyone here because we hit subscriber number 550 today before we hit the show. So thank you all so much, all the new viewers. We appreciate you all very, very much. So, yeah, look for me online at Kev Nevick. Got some other shows. In fact, in 10 minutes, I'll be talking Star Wars over on Dweeb. So look for me there. Zach, where can the folks at home find you?
Well, you can find me here and only here on Carnage Media. You can go and check out everything we've got coming up on CarnageMediaPPV.com. We have a show coming up next weekend on the 19th. Demolition Boxing, Ladies Boxing Night. That'll start at 7 p.m. If you want to get the pay-per-view for that, which you don't want to miss, go over to CarnageMediaPPV.com. And then later on in April 26th, we are also going to be in BG and Clayton's neck of the woods for Bowling Green Fight Night 1. That'll start at 7 p.m. And then again, you can get the pay-per-view there. That link should be up by the end of this week to start buying pre-sales. Wade.
Absolutely. Again, you can find me here with these awesome fellas Wednesdays at 7:30 with Carnage Unleashed. And as Zach said, always go to CarnageMediaPPV.com for all the fight links. Do not get scammed out here with these social media links. CarnageMediaPPV.com is the only place you can get the links to our fights.
Zuckerberg can't catch them all, guys. Got to go to Carnage Media pay-per-view.
Absolutely. You guys have a lovely week, and thank you all for commenting and staying tuned in to us. See you next week.
See you next week.